Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, it's the Bengaluru-based startup's first electric motorcycle, the Oben Rorr, a hunter or the hunted in this free-for-all segment. It's time to find out.
Think electric two-wheelers in a country like India. Well, currently, you only have a flurry of electric scooters to deal with and not a lot of electric motorcycles. Well, you do have a couple of options in the form of the Revolt motors, a couple of motorcycles out there. You have the Torque motors, Kratos. Well, that is still not a finished product up until this time. And now we have another proposition in the form of the Oben Rorr.
Looking at the Rorr head-on, or even if you see it in your rearview mirrors, you won't really be able to tell that this one's an electric, because unlike most other electrics, this one doesn't look spindly and narrow up front, but like a regular old ICE motorcycle with its chunky telescopic fork and front wheel. The LED ring around the headlamp does look cool, but a little too Honda wannabe for me.
So coming up to the display, well, you have a 7-inch reverse LCD unit, which gives you just the basic amount of information, not a great deal to toggle with, honestly. It's a little hard to decipher out there riding in the sun. But yes, well, you do have connectivity via an app. You can connect to the motorcycle via an app, and you get a lot of more additional information via that app rather than on the motorcycle itself. Well, the tank on this particular motorcycle houses the cable that you can use to charge the motorcycle. And the best part about it, or the unique and even more unique part about it, it is a 3-pin plug that you can extend out of the motorcycle and plug into any 3-pin wall-mounted socket. Moving further back, you have a rather narrow seat, and the tail end, well, it's rather simplistic, but of course, it being an electric vehicle, not an ICE engine, you have no exhaust unit or end can or anything like that, so it's pretty open and very airy looking at the back. Now coming to the ride and handling. Once you actually swing a leg over the motorcycle, the Oben Rorr, well, oh yeah, that might take a little bit more of an effort than you usually would. This is a tall motorcycle and it has around 200 mm of ground clearance. So it's pretty tall and it seems very appropriate for Indian road scenarios. The riding position, quite comfortable. It's a bit on the sportier side. Your knees, your legs will be placed so, and it feels a tad sporty and nice. Flat handlebars, well within reach, everything where you want it to be. My only qualm with this particular setup is the tank, which basically the shape of the tank, well, it sort of intrudes, it sort of juts into your inner thigh when you really want to ride fast. And yes, the more you ride the motorcycle, well, it is going to be a little more painful to deal with. But the company says that it is going to address certain problems like this from feedback from its customers and people like me. So let's see how it goes. The seat on the narrower side could be better in my opinion, and for the pillion, well, it gets even a lot more narrower, so I'm not too sure if that will really be supremely comfortable for a pillion rider over a relatively long distance.
Out on the road, the Rorr feels nicely balanced with a slightly aggressive riding stance and neutral handling. The suspension is a bit on the stiffer side, and the electric could in fact be compared to a sporty 150 to 160cc ICE motorcycle.
One of its main USPs has to be that big 4.4 kilowatt-hour battery that you see right there. It's a lithium iron phosphate unit, not the regular lithium ion unit that most other EVs currently come prepped with. Now, what makes this proposition so unique? Well, first of all, it offers you a good 150 kilometers of range, of course in eco mode, the most economical mode of the bike. And I'll just explain what makes this battery so unique.
Compared to regular lithium-ion batteries, lithium iron phosphate or LFP batteries are cheaper to construct. And since they are nickel and cobalt free, these units do not create their own oxygen in its energy creating chemical process, which often spells disaster in the event of a thermal runaway. Also, these units can withstand a higher temperature before going into thermal runaway, so technically they are a lot safer. Now, the biggest disadvantage of these battery packs is that they are lower in energy density in comparison to lithium-ion battery packs, meaning it's less efficient and it has a shorter range for electric vehicles in comparison. So to address that particular issue, we have a large 4.4 kilowatt hour battery in the Rorr. And the best part is the company claimed that the battery will take just 2 hours to complete charge, which sounds brilliant.
So when talking about performance, yes, well, that's a big standout feature about the Oben Rorr. It's one of the highlights. So you have 3 ride modes to contend with primarily. So first of which being Eco, you have City and Havoc. Eco, of course, being the most economical mode, which gives you the best range capability of this vehicle, and Havoc being the most fun, you could say, where you have a limitation, where you are limited to a top speed of 100 kmph.
Now the Rorr might be an electric mute with no real exhaust note, but this thing really takes off in Havoc mode. I think that its 10 kilowatt motor could even put some proper small capacity performance bikes to shame with this level of performance, which sounds like heaps of fun, and it is. In Havoc mode, the throttle definitely feels most rewarding. But what doesn't feel so much so is the calibration of the throttle and brakes on this motorcycle, which were definitely off this time around. Yes, now it being an electric, there's no clutch lever on this bike, but the brake levers on either end of the bar felt really hard to employ, which took a bit of effort. But the brakes themselves function very well.
In a state like Maharashtra, this motorcycle will set you back by a good 1 lakh rupees at showroom. That's inclusive of state subsidies. And the further down south you go, like in a state like Telangana, this motorcycle will cost you around 1,25,000 rupees. Well, should you be ready to go out your checkbook and basically sign up for the Oben Rorr? Well, to be honest, at this particular time, you shouldn't. And let me explain why. Now, the biggest issue that I see with this motorcycle at this particular point in time is the fact that the manufacturer still has a lot of niggling issues to iron out before it comes out with the motorcycle later this year. And whether it actually lives up to its word and manages to achieve all of that in this very short span of time is yet to be seen.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. And you can follow our latest updates on Instagram. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching. Ride and drive safe.